Okay, now guys, thank you very much. Final day, huh? Feels like yesterday that we started this course and we're already on the final day. I hope you guys have learned something. I hope you guys are feeling much more confident than you were on the day one. But yeah, let's have a chat. What we will do is, I think I want to do is, I'm just going to go through last two topics of lesson five, the NE. Again, as I mentioned yesterday, these are the revision of pretty much a repetition of what we have already learned before. So if there's any question, I'll really be asking you guys to help me answer those questions. This will help you revise as well, and then we'll try to see if we can focus on some of the activities there, right? And I'll give you some tips on the exam, and then we'll see how we can, focus on other things that will help you pass the exam. Does it sound like a plan?
Yep.
Okay, good, thanks. Okay, so support organizational change. Okay. 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 Hello, Lakesh. Okay. Just gonna go to organizational style. So one of the things I think, from PMM point of view, even in our normal day-to-day working, each organization differ from each other in terms of culture and style, and that is impacted by the geographical location of the organization. Which country that organization is, or that your office that you're working in is. It also is impacted by the diversity in the organization. So anything that, I always say that when you look at the change organizational culture, look at the human aspect. How your leadership perceives you. The culture of the organization is basically, it's always says from the top down. So if you have a very collaborative, supportive leadership, that culture will basically literally be, um, passed on to the hierarchy, top down. Similarly, organizations are impacted. Culture of the organization is impacted by, the code of conduct they have, the regulation, policies, and procedures at the organizational level, also at the external level, in the environment they're operating. So if you're in a banking industry, banks have their own organizational policy and procedure, but then they also have, a certain regulation and compliance that we studied yesterday to focus on in terms of their procedure and policy. So there are certain factors that you have to take into consideration from exam point of view. So we talked about the types of the organization. So you're going to help me the different types of the organization. So what are the three main types of the organization? So let's start with Mariam. Give me the first one, please.
Matrix organization.
Metrics, yeah, metrics, good. Thank you, Stephanie. Second,
Functional.
functional. Thank you very much. And the third one. What's the third one? Which is the key? Richard, do you want to give us? Yep. Okay, Stephanie, go for it.
Projectized.
Projectized. So these are the three keys. So functional, metrics, and projectized. About some time back, PMI also came up with a new concept called composite, which is nothing but basically saying in any organization, you can have all these three structure at different levels. That's all it is saying. So if you talk about, if you get a question about composite is a mixture of, amalgamation of all these three types at different level in an organization. That's called a composite organization. Organizational structures are affected by resource availability, how projects are conducted. Organizational structure. Yep.
Fahim, we can't see your screen.
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Oh, thank you very much, man.
Thanks, Carlo. I was thinking that this is going to be just a verbal.
Well, I share.
I was thinking about the same.
I don't want you guys to keep looking at my face. I want you to tell me if you can.
I thought this is mostly going to be verbal. It's because it's probably the last class, so that's why.
No, my friend. I will always have something to share because although I was speaking, the screen, the visual it has a much more higher impact than the oral. So,
Sure.
so functional, projectized, metrics, and composite, right? Thank you very much, Carlo, by the way. Okay, talked about it. Okay, so question for you guys, which structure has the most power for project manager? Of the 4 in front of you, or take the first 3. Which structure has the most authority and power for the project manager?
Projectized?
Sorry?
Projectized.
Projectized, that's right, right? Because project manager has full authority to hire and fire, do whatever they are basically, fully projectized, project focused organization, right? Okay, sorry. Okay, now this is something you guys need to remember. I'm going to show you guys a table. That table is on, I think, on your page. Is on the page, somewhere on page 275. You have to learn this table. This is absolutely important table that you remember, especially in terms of the project manager role. From exam point of view, you need to know, in which type of structure you would have the maximum project manager would have, authority, and what would be the role would be, full-time, part-time. Similarly, in terms of team members' role, right? In functional and in somewhat in metrics, project manager, team members are not 100% assigned, right? Team members are assigned on a project by project basis. They still have their functional managers. In terms of projectized, there's a full dedicated team. Now, in saying that, so by the way, the last one, the control of project manager over team member is lowest in the functional, highest in the projectized. Okay, so that's also, when we say control, that also means authority. Authority of the project manager is lowest in functional and highest in the projectized, right? Now, I've got a question for you guys. Let's say a project, you're working in a projectized environment and you're working on a project. What do you think the motivation level of the resources towards the end of the project, if towards the, let's say you're closing a project and pretty much last week, what do you think would be the sentiments or the motivation level of the team members in the projectized organization? High, low, happy,
Excited.
Excited?
Yeah.
Okay.
To get the job done.
Job done. Okay. Anybody else? Richard?
Relieved.
Relieved. Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Probably they'll have too much for it by then, so probably they'll just try to get rid of it.
They try to get rid of it. Okay. What about you, Kate?
Well, I think if the team is effective in, if the team is sort of bonded together, they will be excited, but in terms of not about the end of the project, but I don't know. I don't think that people who are connected would be really excited about the soonest, end of their collaboration.
Yeah, that's fine. So I especially asked you about the projectized. So what is a projectized organization? So look at the structure. What happens? What happens at the end of the project? What happens? You relieve the project team?
Yeah, the team dissipates, and they are they get on with the new projects and the new teams.
Yeah, you think they would, right? They may not, right? So in a projectized environment, you may be in a situation, you finish the project and that's it. Team may not have any further job, right? So there will be an element of anxiety among the team, because at the end of the project, they may not have any new work to do. So in a projectized environment, that's the biggest concern for the team. In a functional or a metrics, because the team is part-time, once they finish the project, they'll go back to their functional role. So they still have a job. But in a projectized environment, the team may not have a job. The difference, do you understand the difference? So, excuse me, the anxiety level may be very high towards the closure in the projectized environment. And we talked about the team development cycle. which was, so I'll start with Likesh. What's the first two? Likesh is not there. Kate, what's the first two team development cycle, if you don't mind?
Forming,
Yeah.
storming.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Forming and storming.
Sorry, Vahid.
Paolo, what's the other two?
Norming.
And
Forgot about the last one. Just forget about this one.
Performing and adjourning.
Yeah,
Forming.
forming and joining.
Forming, norming, performing.
Guys, I can guarantee you will get a question on this. So remember the cycle. This is very important to understand what, and it won't be a straightforward question. It will be in a way that it will make you think, you know, what stage of the team development cycle is at the moment. Okay. Okay, PMO, Project Management Office, we talked about it. A management structure that standardizes a project-related governance and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodologies, tools, and techniques. And that's a very standard definition. It's a very basic definition, right? I think from exam point of view, that's fine. In PMBOK, it gives us 3 types of project PMOs: supportive, controlling, directive, right? The 3 types of PMO. So I need you. Although there are many different types of the PMO, but for the exam point of view, just focus on these 3 types of PMO. Now, in supportive PMO, what I would like you guys to do is, just go to page 276. Okay, I want you to. There are 3 categories. The explanation of supportive, controlling, and directive. Please understand. Supportive PMO is basically a consultative role, right? It just provides some information, template, process, procedures, but they may not be a dedicated PMO staff, maybe an ad hoc PMO staff in case of supportive PMO, right? Controlling PMO is they have some, they're 1 step ahead of supportive PMO. They will have some compliance procedures, process. There may be, there's a big possibility there will be a dedicated PMO staff who would be helping, developing project management frameworks and methodologies, right? In supportive, there's a possibility, they're probably an ad hoc staff. It's not a full-fledged PMO. Maybe the resources are some of the resources from the functional team are asked to do this kind of a work to help the team. And then there's a directive PMO. Directive PMO is basically the full controlling PMO, a full functional PMO in the sense the directive, in case of a directive PMO, the PMO manager hires and fires project managers, gets the resources for the projects, and they manage end-to-end project delivery. So that's the difference between the 3. So supportive is the least, PMO with the least authority and control. Directive has the maximum authority and control, and they are more responsible for project delivery compared to supportive PMO. Is that okay with you guys?
One is the least. Fahim, can you say that again, please?
The supportive PMO has the least authority in terms of governance processes, because they are more just supporting the team, okay, providing the templates and maybe some processes and procedure. Whereas the directive PMO is consider this from like in an organization, we have a functional organization and projectized organization. Similarly, in PMOs, we have a supportive PMO and then directive PMO. Now I have to say that, the concept of directive PMO is still there. It's definitely there. It's probably not as widely used as controlling PMO, because controlling PMO is somewhere in the middle. They do have a PMO manager have a level of control, but at the same time, resources, project managers may not be 100% fully dedicated to the PMO, may not be dedicated resources. So project managers at times sometimes can come from functional managers as well, right? Functional role. They may have a line manager responsibility with a different person. You guys may have that in your environment as well. But from exam point of view, if you look at the page 276, if you could understand read the definition of this, controlling PMO provides support and require compliance through various means. Compliance may involve adopting project management framework or methodologies, using specific templates, forms, tools, or conforming to governance. With directive PMO takes control of the project by directly managing the projects, right? From exam point of view, directive PMOs, project manager in directive style of PMO, project managers report into the PMO, and In supportive PMO, project managers are the staff, PMO staff is ad hoc. Make sense? Is it easy for you guys to remember this way?
Yeah, would we be supposed to like differentiate between especially the controlling PMO and directive and controlling a supportive? Supportive is pretty simple, but I would say controlling a directive, it's because they're sort of having some overlap roles.
Yeah, they do.
So,
They do. I think the major difference between the controlling PMO is that PMO do not own the project management resources. In directive PMO, PMO owns the project management resources. So PMO would assign the project management resources. PMO would, in controlling PMO, that's pretty much the only key difference, right? They would provide the governance framework like directive PMO, but they rely on other teams to provide the PMO, and they coach and mentor project managers, but they don't really, in most cases, they don't really hire and fire project managers. Okay. Does it make sense? Okay, that's probably the key difference between the two. Okay, what is an OPA, guys? Come on, Lakesh, I'm gonna try you again.
It's gone out of my mind.
It's all right. Stephanie?
Organization process assets.
Yeah, give me an example, please.
Project documentation.
Yeah, good. And one more. Who else can give me another documentation? For example, OPA.
Standard templates.
Standard templates, policies, procedures. Yep. Thank you. Lessons learned as well. Okay. Thank you. Okay. What about EEF? What is EEF? What is EEF? Sorry?
External environmental factors.
Yeah. So what does it mean? What does it mean?
Factors outside of the project sphere.
Yeah, outside of the project control, right? Give projects control, not organization control, project control. Now, give me an example of that, please. Now that Lakesh, you have answered, you should have to give me an example.
Okay, I'll just say maybe weather, or I mean, you know, like it's in weather condition that can affect.
Yeah. Can be. I was hoping a little bit more, but I can be.
Maybe also some changes in the in government regulation.
Yeah,
that's
right.
outside of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm making progress.
Yeah, no, you're doing very well. Yeah, no, absolutely right. So, you know, regulation, compliance, you know, external factor, geopolitical situation, things. Yeah, you know, maybe systems environment. You know, organizational system environment, right? You know, you may have to conform to a certain infrastructure requirement if you're doing an IT project, and so on and so forth. So, that's it. Okay. Key important thing is enterprise environment factors can support or limit project management, right? So let's say, what does it mean? So let's say we are trying to do a project, you're rolling out a new application, right? And you're all good to go, and your IT team comes to you and says, sorry, what are you trying to do is our infrastructure doesn't support your application. So you can't do that. So you have to make sure that you take into consideration enterprise environmental factors so that it does not limit your own delivery. Okay. Change management plan. Organizational culture directly influences how organization manages change to a project. Right or wrong? Yes, no. Come on, guys. Right? Do we agree with that?
yeah.
Organization culture. So if there's a, you know, we did a question yesterday about a project manager joining the team, and he found out that the project management methodology is very informal. So the question was asked, you know, what should that project manager do, right? So that was an example of an organization which has very flexible way of governing the projects. Right? In an organization, especially in a very highly compliance-oriented environment like banks or financial institute, you would find a very rigid regime in terms of towards you know, change control, right? You know, because and similarly in terms of you know, these days we talk about cyber security. So if an organization is dealing with cyber security area, there would be a very strong, rigid possibility of having a strong, rigid approach to a change management, because they have to make sure that security is secure, because secure in that area, security is the key dominant factor. They want to make sure that everything is secure. So, okay, rollout plan. What is a rollout plan? Come on, guys. What is a rollout plan? Once the project is done, you basically complete the project. You transition the project, right? So you have to have implementation plan or project rollout plan. So once you have done the project, you're towards the end of the project, you need to hand over the project. So whatever you have produced is now basically needs to be handed over to operations team. You need to transition into an operations team. So that's a rollout plan, how otherwise customer would know that the product is ready for use, right? So you've done, even if you take in a agile environment, customer has done demo, you've tested it. Now you put it through the production release to make sure that the product is available to the customer, and the customer said, okay, that's done. We have rolled out the new features. We have rolled out a new product. You can go and use the product. Okay. Depending on the size, scope, and nature of the change, the plan details might include project team and affected customer and user stakeholders, training and supportive activities. Now, remember one thing, and this is the key, especially in some of the organization where we have these, environment, rigid change environment. What is project doing? Project is bringing a change. Yes, we all agree, disagree, right? It is bringing a change. So when you're rolling out, you may need to go through, in most cases, you have to go through a change control to make sure the stakeholders and everybody's aware of it, what the final product looks like, whether it's going to have an impact on so and so forth, right? So make sure that remember that change management is very key aspect of the project management, because even as you're delivering the final product, you would probably in most cases would have to go through the change control to make sure everybody across it and people know when the product will be available.
So
okay.
the rollout plan, so the rollout plan would be actually by the end of the deliverable, is that right?
Yeah, usually. So this is what I'm saying. Don't confuse it. Sometimes you may have at the end of the phase, certain area. So rollout plan is basically, sorry, go ahead. Okay. You can also call it a change implementation plan in some cases. So if you have, if delivering a project, the terminology is interchangeably used. The idea is that that the rollout plan basically ensures that the deliverable is handed over to the end user, and the project has done sufficient work in making sure the end user, the person, the team that is going to use the product or maintain the product has sufficient knowledge, training, and understanding of what they will be managing. Okay.
Fahim,
yep.
Can we have like a rollout plan in place for the deliverables about like an MVP, for example?
Yeah, you can have that as well. Like it's how you want to manage the change of your whatever the change or deliverable you're bringing on. Some depending on the organizations, you may have to do rollout plan at every phase, right? I also just want to make sure at times Agile is not really big on a lot of documentation. Rollout plan is an extensive big document at times, depending on again the product that you're delivering, because it talks about what is the impact of the change that you're bringing, the product that you're delivering, how it's going to impact. If let's say if you're rolling out a new software for your organization, you want to, before you go deliver that, your plan should have some training for the users, right? Your plan. Let's take an example of let's consider this training as a rollout plan for your PMP, right? You're being taught how to give the exam, how to prepare for the exam, how to approach the exam. You're getting some training on to take the exam, depending on your skill level, and that's what goes in the rollout plan as well. How the project, because remember, once the project is closed, project team will be dispersed. So somebody needs to manage that product that's been created by the project team, right? So that's going to be the operations team. They need to know what you created. So they need to know, they need to know how to use that product, how to maintain that product, They need to know what are the issues and challenges that you face with that product, and they need to be trained on managing that product, right? So if customer tomorrow calls, they should be able to support them, right?
Okay, sorry, for some reason I'm still not able to digest the concept. So can we say the rollout plan is project management plan?
It is a part. It can be. It is a part of project management plan. It's not a project management plan. Okay, it's an implementation plan, project implementation plan. Does it make sense? It's pretty much. It's called. Yeah, that's right. Implementation plan. Go live plan. There are a lot of names used for this. It's called rollout plan. It's basically project implementation plan. Towards the end, how you're going to implement, final stages, whatever. Okay. 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 I think we talked about it. Training plan. We just explained that we may need to have a training plan for the deliverable we are doing. Training artifacts. Probably have to create some artifacts in terms of what we are doing. Okay. Which plan is used to keep the versioning control of the artifacts? Mohammed Noor? Marisa, do you want to have a go?
Configuration management plan.
That's right, configuration management plan. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, what is the demo? Mohammed Noor, now I can go back to you. Thank you, Marisa. Mohammed Noor, what is a demo?
Demo is the third stage in Agile when we have the demo product finished after the planning and then stand up.
Yeah, but what is demo used for? No, what is demo used for?
Okay, we use demo to demo the product, our product.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah, but what does it mean? What does it mean? I know demo. I know. I was just trying to say, what does it mean? It's all right. No dramas, man.
So we have an iteration inside the demo. We got quite a lot of review. We do a multiple things, changes and all that, and the output of that will be the output product from the loopback feedback.
Yeah. So yeah, no, you're close. You're close. So they are not iteration in demo. Demo is towards demo. What is another name for demo? Okay, let's hear it.
Sprint review.
Sprint review. So what you do is you towards towards the end of the sprint, when you have your product is ready, you want to show it before you put it in production. You want to demonstrate how the product works to the customer so that you can have a feedback from the customer, whether the customer is happy. We're not assuming everything. We want to make sure. That's the whole idea of the agile, right? We want to make sure that it is working. The customer is happy with what's being delivered, because last thing you want in agile or in any project that you deliver a product which customer doesn't want to use it, right? The demo is an opportunity for the Scrum team or agile team to show it to the, with the help of product owner to the client, what we have developed for you, and tell us if it makes sense to you or you need anything, we need to change anything, and so on and so forth. So that's what the demo is, right? Change software solution may require demonstration of the change configuration process, workflow, and roles and responsibility. Okay. Demos should be reviewed by a key important part from exam point of view, should be reviewed by a customer and your stakeholders. Must be. You need to, because they are at the end, they are the people who are going to use the product. You want to make sure that you have their buy-in before you put the product in production. Early feedback allows for adaptation, while the feedback is immediately relevant and should improve the quality of the change while reducing overall cost and risk. What does it mean? Early feedback. How can early feedback reduce overall cost and risk? Okay, who can explain me that? It says demo helps us get a early feedback, and that helps us reduce overall cost and risk. So, Carlo, what do you think? What does it mean?
This might be like in the first stages of the project, in which you have like the ability and enough time to do some sort of like adjustments based on the feedback received from the key customers, for example?
Yes, but we do demo after every sprint, right? We don't only do it initially, right? You're on track, you're almost there, but why do you think that it will help us reduce the cost? That's the question, right?
I think to align as well the deliverables with key stakeholders and see if you have achieved the main goals, I guess.
Okay, right. And if you haven't achieved the main goals, then what happens? Anybody else?
You need to come back and adjust.
Adjust, okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, you're almost close. Good. Marisa, do you want to try? How come early feedback helps us in reducing overall cost and risk?
It can avoid rework.
Yeah, it will help us avoid rework. That's the key. Rework. You don't want. Remember, the cost of conformance is lower than the cost of non-conformance. So if you create a product which is not somebody wants to use it, you will go back to the drawing board and redo everything. So you want to, that's why you do, that's the whole idea of Agile on a regular basis. You keep getting feedback on a regular basis after every sprint so that you can fix. So you don't create a product which customers at the end, after 12 weeks say, no, I don't want this. This is not what I want. You want to make sure that every 2 weeks the customer gives you feedback that, yeah, you're on the right track. This is what we need. Yep, good. Okay, there's some guidelines and implement plan for the change, but it's fine. Let's have a quick look at the activity 5.4, please. Page 279, please. Give you 5 minutes to do that. Read it, and then we'll do it again together. If you guys have read the scenario, let's do the exercises, right? Questions. The scenario is senior management asks you to consider the types of organizational structure and working style that might be followed at your development company that builds home for low-income families and the possible impact on the projects you will be managing. Your organization has departments for donation, construction, marketing, volunteers, and finance. But before you start working on it, you need to verify your knowledge on the organizational structure and function. Let's go to question number 1. And I would ask Richard, if you could help answer the question, read and answer the question, please.
Okay, Fahim, in addition to the departments listed in the scenario, your company also has a manager of project management to oversee all the ongoing projects. As one of the project managers, you report directly to the project management department, but share staff with other departments. What type of organizational structure does this describe?
Okay, what do you think?
I'm going to go on a limb and just say metrics. I haven't read the notes.
Okay, no, but yeah, okay. Anybody else? Metrics? Carlo?
Yes, I agree. Yeah, matrix.
Okay. Marisa?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so seems like you have got the right answer, but Richard, you have to have a reason for it, right? So let's look at the reason, because without the reason, I don't want you to guess it, right? You have the right answer, but what is the reason for it, right? Stephanie, do you want to explain what is the reason for this?
Yeah, because you have the full-time project managers here, and then your staff has been shared with another departments, which is functional.
Well done. That's right. That's right. Because it can't be projectized, because in projectized you have dedicated team, project managers and team on in functional, pretty much a lot of people are part-time, but in metrics, there is a combination of project managers full-time, but the team is not really full-time at times. And you can refer to the graph on page 75 for that. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie, and everybody else. What about question number 2? Juliet, do you want to do that, or you can't speak? You probably can't speak. All right. Mariam, you want to do question number 2, please?
Yes. Choose the organizational structure where the authority of the project manager is the highest.
Yeah.
Project type.
Project ties, because we have a dedicated team and full-time project manager. Thank you. Okay, number 3. Let's go to Lakesh. Number 3, please.
Which organizational structure is a combination of all other types of organizations? I went with composite.
Composite. Yeah. Anybody else agrees, disagree?
Agree.
Agree. Okay. Because we said, in organizational, a composite is an organization which has pretty much all these 3 at some level of the organization, right? Okay, good. Thank you very much. Well done.
Just got a question. We would probably have to differentiate between composite and metrics. And for me, I think it's a bit difficult to do it. So what is the best way to realize if this is metrics and this is composite?
Composite organization is an organization that will have functional, projectized, or metrics style in different departments within one organization. So your IT department may be very projectized. Your finance department may be, very metrics oriented. Big organizations have different styles at time, right? I can tell you, I've worked in an organization, I don't want to name it. IT was fully agile based, safe agile based, and the business was very waterfally. And it was a big problem there, right? So I had to come up with a hybrid approach to deliver the project. So I was managing the business PMO. But anyway, so that's one of them. Does it answer your question, Abdullah? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no worries. Kate, do you want to do the 4th one?
All right. Describe the organizational culture, style, communication structure of one of your projects.
Okay. You tell us. What do you think?
So, say I currently work for an engineering consultancy company called GHD.
Mm-hmm.
So we have project engineers, architects, different technical specialists, and they work on multiple projects at the same time, and they work on projects only. We do have functional departments like the marketing department, financial department, but they do not charge their services towards the project.
Oh.
So I would say the structure, well, a bit confused here.
Yeah.
I can say that half of the company is projectized, definitely, because engineers don't work, they only work for projects, right? But at the same time, we do still have the functional departments, but we don't engage them in the project.
So I would say
sort
that
of
your
matrix.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Composite
metrics.
or metrics, yeah.
Yeah,
It is
sounds
right.
like a matrix.
From exam point of view, it's a very good, interesting. From exam point of view, when you have to decipher the question and try to cut it down into which organization to pick, and make sure you try to focus on the project management engagement, authority, and the team engagement, right? So project manager authority is maximum, that's a projectized. If it is, and project manager is full-time, it's metrics or projectized, or if it's part-time. You will have enough information in the question not to confuse between, metrics and projectized, because, strong metrics can be close to projectized, but you will have enough information not to confuse with that. So that's there. Okay, thank you very much. So I think 5 is easy. I don't know, who was telco? Muhammad Noor, you are telco. Do you want to help us answer question number 6? You're on mute, Muhammad Noor, if you're there.
Yes, Fahim.
Yeah.
Question number 6, did you say?
Yeah, based on your experience, what kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
external environment?
Okay, we even though we work for telco, we also have a wide range, but I can just take one good example, a current project probably. A good example is this is from external. So our product will be going into the railway systems, and this railway system will have a compliance, what they call a railway standard. And this is something that outside from our area that we explore now into this standard, and we have to compliance with this railway standard.
Mhm. So the compliance, that's external, that's regulatory basically, is it?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. And that is a crucial, because inside the railway standard, that is where sitting the specification, the tolerance, interference, all this technical specification will be sitting right there.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's good. I think OPA is pretty straightforward, so I won't waste time on OPA for you guys. I think you guys remember that now. Okay, let's move on to our activity. So lesson E, employ continuous process improvement. What is continuous process improvement? Help me, and who can explain me what is continuous process improvement? Come on, folks. I'm not looking for definition. I just want to understand, what do you guys understand by continuous process improvement? That's all I'm asking.
Reducing the waste, increasing the efficiency.
Yeah.
And repeat, rinse and repeat. So just keep doing it again and again and again until yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely right. Excuse me. I want to show you guys something. So just to help you guys understand the concept. You probably, can you guys see my? Okay. Now this is something that you would not find in your course, but in PMP. There's a concept of lean principle. So Agile has three ways of working, right? So it's lean, Scrum, and Kanban, right? So I won't go into the detail of these, but I just want you to, because the concept of continuous improvement came up, I thought I'll give you some information. This probably help you in the exam as well. So the lean principle is basically, is based on, I'll show you that. It's 5 values that, you identify the value, you map the value stream. You remember we talked about the value stream, yesterday, the day before yesterday. Create a flow. This has come from manufacturing, by the way. Establish a pull and seek perfection. Now, this is a point, and I don't expect you to remember that, but the reason I'm giving you this, the concept of lean is avoidance of waste, right? And the maximum amount of waste happens when there is a interaction between people, handover from one team to another team, passing on the information. And it basically came up with, Henry Ford in early 1900s, early 20th century. He wanted people in his company to work smarter, and he came up with initial concept, which was then really popularized by Toyota just-in-time, or JIT system. I don't know if you guys remember, which was based on the philosophy of total elimination. I don't know how to pronounce it. Jidoka is basically it's a Japanese term meaning that automation with a human touch, right? And the reason it came up was 3 ways. Okay. Lean says Japanese believes that there are 3 types of waste: Mura, which is just a waste; Mura, which is a waste because of imbalance, and there's a figure to show you; and Muri, which is overload, right? More than what you can take on. So Mura is waste. Yeah. So if you look at in this figure, what is the waste here? The waste is this space is waste. Over here, this is imbalance. There's a waste here. One is too big, one is too small. This is just a depiction of all. And Muri is overload. So you should stop here, but it's just saying that it's way too much. again, this is the whole concept of lean is avoid waste, right? That's what I'm trying. Now, continuous improvement is how you avoid waste and be focused on something which will give you efficiency without impacting your workforce or your other deliverables. Does it make sense? That's exactly basically what continuous improvement is now. Now it is basically a quality approach as well. Let me just quickly close this one so that I can go back to our slide deck. It is basically a quality approach as well. In fact, it is a quality approach, and there are a number of theories in terms of quality. So go back to share again, and I'm gonna quiz you guys because we've done those theories. Okay, go back there. So continuous improvement, an ongoing effort to improve product, service, or process. Now, what does Agile do? What does Agile do? It is continuously improving. By iteration, it is continuously improving based on the feedback, right? You continuously, you cannot go from 0 to 100, immediately. You have to go leaps and bounds. You have to go gradual improvement. That's how it works, right? Nobody becomes, unless you are a lottery winner, becomes a millionaire overnight, right? There are only a few people. So you have to work your way through success, right? That's what it is, right? Culture of continuous improvement. Now, there are a lot of theories, quality theories. This is basically a quality concept, right? And Edward Deming, he from 1900 to 1993, he died at the age of 93. He was the best known associated with the quality field, and he's basically considered the founding father, right? And he came up with a concept called Plan, Do, Check, Act. It's a PDCA cycle. Have you guys heard of it? PDCA cycle, right? You guys know what the PDCA cycle is? No? No? Yes? No?
Yes.
Nope.
We did that. Come on, Abdullah, we studied it, okay?
Sorry.
So his concept was based on, better design for product to improve service, higher level of uniform product quality, improvement of product testing. So that's check, right? So plan, do, right? And then improvement check and greater sales through global market, act, right? This is his way of taking it. And there are a few others. I'm going to show you some more. And then there was a Joseph Duran as well. So I'm giving you guys something which will help you in your exam. So remember these theories. Edward Deming's is Deming plan, do, act cycle, PDCA, or it is also PDSA, right? Support. Right? Then we have Joseph Duran, right? Duran was based on trilogy, basically said quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. His theory was based on three processes: planning, control, and improvement. He believed that his concept was fitness for use. It should be anything you develop should be fit for use, right? So if you get the concept of fitness for use, that is associated with Joseph Duran, who had this trilogy quality, three quality processes were quality planning, control, and improvement. Okay. Then we also have, Phil Crosby, right? He had 4 absolutes. So remember these things, right? Deming had a cycle, PDCA. Joseph Duran had 3 quality process and fitness for use. Bill Crosby will emphasize on 4 absolutes as conformance to the requirement, quality achieved by prevention, standard of 0 defects, and quality is measured by determining the cost of quality. So it's there, all 4 are here. So remember there's 4. So Crosby, if you get a question, what are the 4 quality absolutes. So remember, it immediately tied them up to Bill Crosby, or I think Bill Crosby. Then we had Jinichi Taguchi. I could be pronouncing the name right. And he emphasized that quality should be designed into the product so that the cause variation can be identified and controlled. That was his theory. Don't want to go into detail or anything, but so he came up with the theory that quality should be designed into the product. So quality should be designed, not considered or thought about it. It should be designed so that if there's any variation, you know what's happening. And the final one that from exam point of view is Bill Smith Jr. or William Smith Jr. He came up with Six Sigma concept, emphasizing responding to customer needs and improving process by systematically removing defects, right? Lean uses Six Sigma concepts, just so that you know. Okay. I thought I'll explain you guys because this is from exam point of view, this is good. Then we have our very famous, what is this called? Ishikawa fishbone diagram, right? Now, Toru Ishikawa, right? He passed away in late 80s. He was a Japanese, right? But he came up with this concept. He said, and this is also important. So this is called Ishikawa diagram or fishbone diagram, or it is also called by another name. What is that? Come on, guys, you have to give me that. What is the third name that we use it in risk management? We use it in risk quality management. What is
cause?
Cause and effect. Cause and effect diagram. So it is known by three names: Ishikawa diagram, fishbone diagram, or cause and effect diagram. It's basically giving you. This is just an example that I took away from internet. So I put the reference there as well. And he identified basically, came up with this based on his philosophy. But he said, and one thing that I got that is that he said that organization should take quality seriously, and he referred to 7 tools of quality control. 7 tools of quality control, and we did that in quality, but I'll repeat that. So Pareto analysis. The one was Pareto analysis. Second was this cause and effect. Then he had check sheets. He said, we should. Then there was a histogram, scatter diagram or scatter charts, and control charts. Right? He believed, his view was that these 7 tools should be widely known and used. If not by everyone in an organization, and used by everyone in the organization, and should be used to analyze the problem. Okay, because his view was using these 7 tools gives you a very good control over quality management, right? So the tools that he said are key tools, and you may get a question on, what are the 7 quality tools that Ishikawa mentioned. So Pareto analysis, Pareto, Pareto analysis, cause and effect diagram, check sheets, histogram, scatter diagram, control charts, and stratification. I think there was a thing called stratification on how the data is made up of. So it's stratification, stratification. Don't ask me the details. I'm gonna call it again. But just remember, it's 7 tools that he referred to, quality tools. Let me see if these are there in your.
Are these given in the exam prep document?
It's not in the document. These tools are not in the document. I think we covered in the quality management. It's not in E. But if you let me know if you can't find it. Even if you Google, you'll find 7 tools of Ishikawa 7 quality control tools. Okay, that's something I want you guys to. So you may get this figure. So Deming cycle, plan, do, check, act. That's on the left side, and Joseph Juran's trilogy. The quality is fit for use. So quality planning, quality control, quality improvement, and that's the entire quality control, quality management. Then, so Agile, we talked about Agile is a very good example of continuous improvement, right? It's a very good example of continuous improvement because at every iteration we're trying to improve. Somebody put something in the chat, so okay, thank you, Carlo. Okay, Kaizen, Kaizen, Kaizen. It's basically it's a Japanese word which came from two words, Kai, which is Kai, Kaizen, Kai, which means improvement, Kai, which means improvement, and Zen good, Zen, Zen good, and which basically translate into continuous improvement. Now, Kaizen is a lean manufacturing tool that improves quality, productivity, safety, and workplace culture. So Kaizen is a lean manufacturing tool that improves the quality, productivity, safety, and workplace culture. Okay, and okay. Okay. Just a bit of a text for you guys to read about Kaizen. So the Kai comes from improvement. It's a Japanese word. Improvement, and Zen is for good, which translates into continuous improvement. Okay. I think this is on in your. Yeah, some of the information is on the book. Okay. I've explained plan, do, act, but I thought I'll put that in. Okay. Some of the understanding on continuous improvement tool. What are the tools available to us in terms of continuous improvement? What do you think? So number one is our lesson learned register, right? In a traditional approach, our lesson learned register is the key for us when we're looking at the quality. As we put our information from previous, we can we can go and look at it, right? The challenge with the lesson learned, as we keep talking about, people tend to focus it towards the end of the project, not throughout the life cycle of the project. So as a project manager, focus it on throughout the life cycle of the project, right? Don't try to, well, you can, but avoid filling it at the end, because if you do that, you're basically, you may not remember everything that you've gone through. So if you're, 1 year or 2 years project, or even 8 months project, you probably will forget what problems that you faced, initially. Once the issue is closed, you move on to the next one and so on. So I think that's the key, right? In Agile, we have a concept of retrospective, right? Very common in Agile. That's also one way of it. So we learn from retrospects, we learn and improve. So that's a way of continuous improvement, right? And finally, experiments. Experiments provide us some way to improve efficiency. We may use different testing tools. We talked about A/B testing. We may get feedback. We talked about pilot and prototype, and these are also ways, or even MVP are ways to improve the product on a regular basis. Once you get the feedback, you improve your product based on the feedback. Make sense, guys? Yes, no? Give me something. And pretty much that's it. That's pretty much we have. But let's do a quick activity. I want to see if you guys. So can we go to activity 5-5, please? Give you 5 minutes to read about it. Okay, we want to try it. Okay. The company you work for builds and operates large shopping centers throughout the United States, and its culture is committed to continuous improvement. You're about to embark on on managing your first shopping center project, and your sponsor is testing your knowledge about continuous process improvements. Okay, number one. Which of the following are key attributes of continuous improvement? Choose three. Okay, who wants to go? Stephanie, you want to try? Continuous improvement. What are we doing? All right.
Well, I choose first, fourth, and the last one.
Okay, so better design of product to improve service. Let's go one by one. Anybody else agrees, disagrees? You guys agree? Okay.
I agree.
Good. Good, yeah, that's right. So the other one was higher level of uniform product quality. Everybody agrees, disagree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, good. And what else did you say? The third one?
The last one, minimizing changes.
Minimize changes to the project. Okay. What is this? Minimization. How many of you agree, disagree?
That was the one that was.
Disagree.
Yeah.
I would disagree with the last one as well.
Okay, disagree with the last one.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about the last one as well.
Okay. So why is that? So why do you guys are disagreeing?
Maybe striving to always lower costs would be one of them, I guess.
What is the? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Or even exceeding customers' expectations.
Yeah, I think you're right. It can be a little bit confusing as well. You know, when you talk about continuous improvement, you are minimizing, the whole idea is minimizing the waste, right? So yes, even, you know, when I looked at it, I said, well, which one is the correct one? But if I go through, when I went through the answers, it does say increasing sales through global markets. So it's picked up fifth, increasing, but I have to say I'm not 100% convinced with this, but I'll go with what PMI is telling me. So
Did you say increasing sales through global markets?
yeah.
Because if you go to the page 281, right in the bottom of the page it says 281.
281. Yeah.
Yeah. So right in the bottom it says one of the last options is basically greater sales through global markets.
There you go.
I don't know how it improves the quality.
Thank you very much. I think that's where it came from. Thanks a lot. Okay, that's a good one. Even I didn't know that. So good, thank you. So there you go. PMI says, forget about the logic. Listen to me what I'm saying. All right.
Thank you, Kate.
Okay, number two, which of the following individual is often cited as the father of the total quality management? So Deming is known as the father of the total quality management, in case you guys have not. So please do remember that. It's a very good question, in fact. So Edward Deming is known as. Okay. Number three, which continuous improvement approach is built upon ideas coming from the workers themselves and improvement coming from many small changes?
Kaizen.
Kaizen, that's right. Continuous improvement. Thank you. Well done. Okay, how is lesson learned register used in continuous improvement? I think it's pretty straightforward, so let's skip that. I know you go back and look at the source of information for previous project. That's what it is. That's pretty much it, guys.